Thank you for joining us on Coffee Break, brought to you by the Middle Alabama Area Agency on Aging, or M4A. M4A is a part of a network of 13 area agencies on aging that cover all 67 counties across the state. We are located in Alabaster, and we cover Blount, Chilton, Shelby, St. Clair, and Walker counties. We would love to find out how we can help your family today. For previous episodes of Coffee Break, feel free to check out our YouTube channel. Today's special guest speaker is Miss Elizabeth Bitt Thomaston, who is the Volunteer and Community Services Coordinator for Lakeside Hospice in St. Clair County. And we're excited to have Bitt join us today, as she's, again, we've had previous speakers who have joined us who have been just great supporters of our organization and of our staff members and our desire to help those in our community. And Bitt is no different. She's been a long time guest and partner, and has loved to host us as far as joining her support groups and trying to help with her staff, with education and different things in the past. So we're excited because she brings a wealth of knowledge again, and I know that she's going to give us all a treat today. So without further ado, I'm going to turn off my screen share here a bit, and you're more than welcome to take it from there. So let me stop sharing my screen real quick, and there you go.
Okay, well, thank you, Jeremy and Jennifer, and thank you, Robin, for inviting me to be a part of this today. It's good to be here with all of you, and it's an honor to get to share this time with you. I'm coming to you from the perspective today of a caregiver, because that's what I am. Yes, I work in hospice care, but my true education and experience came in caring for my own mom with Alzheimer's. And since joining Lakeside Hospice's team, of course, I've had more access to education outlets and more on-the-job experience in working with our patients and their families, facilitating support groups, and in working with all the amazing agencies that we're going to talk about more today. But all in all, I'm just a daughter who cared for her mom in the best way that I knew how, and was then led by the Lord to share what I learned with others and to try to help to be a liaison to families going through that Alzheimer's journey. So today I want to talk about building a strong support system and finding some peace of mind in caregiving. And to many of you, that probably sounds overwhelming right now. And peace of mind, what is that? But I promise that help is out there and that peace can be found. So we want to help you with that today a little bit, and then remind you, most importantly, that once we leave this session, remember that the information I give you today is always available to you, the resources and the helplines, the websites, the newsletters. And of course, I am always available. So I think one of the first things I want to share with you, and one of the most important things I can share with you, or the advice that I can give, is if you are not in a support group right now, be sure to find one right now. Not only will you get great support from the others in the support group who are going through the same thing you're going through, facing the same challenges, the same doubts, but you're going to get amazing resources that are going to help you through this journey, and great education opportunities. And you will learn so much from the others that come into the group, whether they be fellow caregivers or Alzheimer's patients themselves, or doctors, nurses, professionals going through this journey with families and helping them. So what we want to help you with today is introduce you to the best way to care for your loved one while still caring for yourself. And I know that you might hear this a lot, but really think about it as the caregiver. it's so important to take care of yourself. And that's one of the key things that we want to do through support groups, through M4A and all the agencies that we work with, in making sure that you are taking care of yourself. And part of that starts with finding the right support group for you. So what I want to start with is getting you to take a look today at where you are in your journey. So where are you as a caregiver? Where's your loved one in the stages and phases of Alzheimer's? Have you found the right doctors for your loved one? Remember, not all physicians are skilled in caring for someone with Alzheimer's. So, you know, it's important to find a good geriatrician, someone who's skilled in the aging, as we age and in our care. A good neurologist, make sure the proper tests are run, that the medications are reviewed, and that also someone is looking out for you and making sure that you as the caregiver are not getting too stressed and knowing those signs of caregiver stress. So some of the good things you can do in preparing, if you haven't already found a good medical care team, is be sure to keep a notebook and note the changes in your loved one's behavior, the abilities or loss of abilities, changes in their diet and sleep patterns. How are the medications that they are currently on affecting them? And this way you'll be ready to have a good, solid conversation with the right physicians, and you'll know what questions to ask. So that's one, find a good support group. Two, make sure you have the right doctors. And then look at what your loved one was able to plan for, or still is possibly able to plan for in terms of their long-term care. Do you have the power of attorney in place for medical and financial? Did you discuss what will happen if they're no longer able to live at home or live in their own home on their own? Who will care for them, and where will they go? And are they still able to make their desires known for their care? That's very key. If you don't have those documents in place, the powers of attorney, if they are still able to make their desires known, please get those done so that it will make their care better and your life easier. It's going to make everything a lot less stressful for you as the caregiver. When we talk about building your support system, everybody's situation is different, and some of us have lots of support. We have, you know, siblings or children that are helping us, or friends, but some people don't have that support system. And it's not that they might not have it, but they may not know how to go about getting it. So one of the things that I want you to look at today is getting your team in place, whether it's siblings, children, friends, paid caregivers who are going to be sitters for you, whoever it may be. But having a plan in place too, that if you already have a team of caregivers, say you do have your siblings or your children helping you, do you have a plan in place for if something happens to one or more of them? What does that care team look like? How will it change? And do you have a backup plan? So when you're building your team, first look at your family. Who is able to help? What are their strengths? The people that are able to help and want to help, what are their strengths? So you can see the best way to put together a team to cover comprehensively your loved one's care. How willing are they to help, and how often are they able to help? Those are important, because as we all know, it's a 24/7 job, so we want to cover all the bases. Then make a schedule of care. Once you have your care team in place with if it is your family, make that schedule so that there's no questions about who's covering days or hours or doctor's appointments or activities, meals, those kinds of things. And then look to friends. You know, so many people always say, how can I help? Or I'm here if you need me. Call me if you need me. And as caregivers, we tend to not do that because we don't want to ask too much of someone, or we think, oh gosh, it's easier if I just do it myself than try to explain to someone how to do it. But we can't do it on our own. No one can do it all by themselves. So in addition to building your family care team, look to your friends and your church family, and always accept help when it's offered. Most people truly do want to help you. They don't always know how to help or what help to offer, but they do want to help. So when someone offers to help, say, yes, I would love for you to help. And here are the things that I need help with. What are you able to help with? And those are things like grocery shopping, laundry, housework, preparing meals, sitting with your loved one to allow you to go to a doctor's visit or go out for a walk or to the library or to have lunch with a friend or a family member or to attend church. So think about those kinds of things. What kind of activities or chores do you most need help with, or would you like to be allowed reprieve or respite to be able to go and do yourself? So think about that, and always, always offer, when it's offered, take the help. It's so important, because if not, you will find yourself getting more stressed. You'll be weary. You won't be the caregiver that you really want to be. And you're not taking good care of yourself when you don't allow others in to help and be a part of the care plan. One great thing that friends can do if they're not comfortable with grocery shopping or meals or sitting, just a friendly visit to you or your loved one. A fresh face and a fresh conversation does everybody good. And one of the things that I think when I was caring for my mom was there were a lot of days my husband went to work, my children went to school, and it was mom and me, and we were kind of, just always together. And so when someone would come to visit, it was just such a nice surprise to have a fresh face and a friendly conversation, a new conversation in our lives was always nice. So if friends can't do a lot, say, can you come by for a friendly visit for an hour? Most people are always glad to do that. And then also remember, have a friend that you can phone. Your phone a friend. Somebody who, when times are tough for you and you need an ear and a shoulder, someone that you can call and just let it all out with. And I think that's one of the key things that every caregiver needs, is not just this very strong support system of help in the day-to-day matters, but just someone who understands and will listen. And sometimes that's all we need. In building your care team, there are so many avenues to take. And of course, we want you to look at all of the things we just discussed, but also remember that there's volunteer organizations. A lot of organizations offer programs that allow caregivers bits of respite or offer your loved one activities and interaction with others. And right now with COVID-19, we are restricted on a lot of these things. So, we've had in the past and hope to have again soon the adult daycares where, your loved one can be dropped off and interact with others doing arts and music and crafts and all kinds of different activities, games, allowing you some time to step away and just take some time for yourself. Senior centers are another good place where adult activities are offered with a meal once they open back up. Now, in our senior centers, I will make one note. If your loved one cannot go to the bathroom on their own or feed themselves, you will have to have someone accompany them to the senior center, but that's a great thing to ask a friend or another family member to do to give you a little bit of break in your day-to-day care. And the senior centers do offer a lot of great activities and games and lots of guests to come in and do music and presentations. So that's always a good place for our loved ones to get a break from their normal day-to-day. But see what's available in your area, see what's a good fit for you, and what most importantly is a good fit for your loved one, because if it's a good fit for them, it's going to give you that peace of mind that you greatly need. So now, one of the things that I cannot recommend highly enough is, if you are not already familiar, of course, with M4A, Middle Alabama Area Agency on Aging, get familiar with them, with their website, with their helpline number. Look, they offer so many different things to assist families in need. And so get familiar with their website, call and see what you qualify for, and let them help you in the way that they greatly want to help and have such amazing resources and people to work with. The other is, of course, Alzheimer's Association. If you are not familiar with the Alzheimer's Association, check out their website, sign up for their newsletter. They have a caregiver helpline 24/7 where you will be paired with a master's level clinician to help you at the times when you're going through some real caregiver stress or have questions or have needs that you're not sure to handle. And the Alzheimer's of Central Alabama. All of these folks are huge in our circle of care for you. They're people that I rely on constantly in caring for my patients and helping with my support groups, and just people in our community. So M4A, Alzheimer's Association, and Alzheimer's of Central Alabama. Go in on their website, sign up for their newsletters, post their numbers somewhere where it's easily accessible to you, so you have those helpline numbers that, post them on the refrigerator or in your care notebook, somewhere that you know you can go and quickly get that. And then when we start back to our in-person support group meetings, all of that information is always available to you to just pick up and take with you. But today, just keep that in mind, that those are the organizations that can be a great help to you. So, and then another great resource that I think people forget about a lot of times, I use it a lot. We use it in our support groups, and when someone calls and is very stressed and there's been a change of behavior in their loved one or something's changed here or there, we can always rely on Teepa Snow videos. So Teepa Snow is an expert in the field, and if you're not familiar with her, you can go on YouTube and pull up her videos. They'll be listed with different categories, different behaviors, different communication skills or communication changes, and you can find what you need and sit down and view that when you have an opportunity. I think it'll be a great help to you. And when you can't have somebody in person, she's always great because she does give such great advice. She's very hands-on, very visual. So in the video, she's really, truly not only talking to you about it, she's showing you how to put it into action. And that's a huge help to families and to caregivers. As I said, make sure you sign up anytime there's a newsletter that has anything to do with education and resources and Alzheimer's, dementias. Have those numbers for the helplines available. Visit their websites and join in on the webinars and the conferences that are offered. Each week on Friday, Alzheimer's of Central Alabama puts out their dementia calendar. And in that, they kind of highlight everybody's webinars, support groups, education resources, podcasts, anything that's coming up that they know is going to be beneficial to families. So if you're not already on that list to receive that calendar each week, make sure you get on that list. Go in on their website. You can pull it up yourself, or you can have it sent to you each week in an email. And it is really wonderful. And all of us working together makes great things happen. So I would say that the agencies I've just mentioned, we do work together very closely, and we try to always feed each other's information out to the communities so people are aware of upcoming events, education, resources, conferences, webinars. Now, we've gone over a lot of the things that help you build a team, and you could talk for hours on how to build a team, but we've put some things out there, and I believe that M4A will have my information published, that if you want to email me or call me, you will be able to. If there's something we've talked about here this afternoon that you need more clarity on or more information on, I am glad to provide that for you. I'm glad to add you to our support group email list so you can get that information and see what support groups are available to you. One thing I want to say is, since we're not meeting right now in person because of COVID-19, our support groups have been meeting virtually throughout this whole time. And I am anxious to send you those links to those support groups if you are not already receiving that information. Our families in our support groups lift each other up so beautifully and share with one another in such a way that I said it's been pretty miraculous through COVID-19. I didn't think our support groups could get any better. I didn't think that these families could do more for each other than they already do. But with the virtual support groups, we've had people coming in from all over the state because their groups are not meeting virtually. So they've been looking for a group, and they found us through those websites, newsletters that we talked about earlier. So in watching what's been happening virtually, and I think a lot of my team would agree, it's been phenomenal to see our core families that are always at our in-person groups coming together to help people that they've never met, joining us from Coleman or Huntsville or Montgomery, wherever they may be joining us from, and automatically taking them in and giving them that peace and that comfort as if they were in person in the room with each of those families going through this journey. So if you're hesitant about a virtual support group, don't be. It's pretty amazing. Of course, we love it when you're in person, and we would prefer that. But until then, we're going to make the best of this opportunity to do it virtually. So please consider reaching out in that aspect. Now, we talked about finding peace of mind, and I told you, I know to you right now, finding peace of mind seems almost impossible, but there are things that, we can do to find joy in each day. I'll never forget hearing an Alzheimer's caregiver talk about what it was like for her. She said, it was like when we got the diagnosis, it was like standing at the very edge of a big dark hole where there was no end in sight. And she said, and then I joined a support group, and I found that there could be joy in life each day, and there could be joy through Alzheimer's. So in finding peace, we might find it in the most unexpected places, but we also have to look, and we have to try. Even when we don't think we can try anymore, or when we're hesitant to take that step out on that edge and just try something new that might help us in our journey as a caregiver to find that peace. Take that step. You might be surprised. So join a support group, find one that works for you. Be educated, learn the do's and don'ts of Alzheimer's and dementia and how to redirect behaviors. That is key in your just everyday sanity. And of course, the do's and don'ts of Alzheimer's can be found on any of the websites we've talked about. The list, it's not too long, but it's extensive as far as key things on communication, do's and don'ts, and not arguing, learning how to redirect behaviors, how to communicate clearly, how to do things in clear, concise ways and not overloading them with tasks or expectations. But and then learning those clear communication skills, knowing to speak slowly, speak directly to them, know how they, which will be learned over time, how do they receive you when you're talking, and think about your tone of voice and how close are you to them? Are you making eye contact? Is there a gentle touch involved when you're trying to communicate? Things that will direct them more to focus on you, but also just to make it a more pleasant interaction when you are trying to communicate. Establish a routine for your loved one. What I always did with Mom was, when we started out trying to figure things out, what is she most used to doing in a day-to-day? And what can we still do that was part of that day-to-day routine for her before? And incorporating that in. And those things do have to change at times because, of course, we can't always meet the needs as changes occur, and things can't stay the same. But what were their interests? What were their hobbies? What did they do for a living? How can we reincorporate that back into this new lifestyle of theirs, to where they feel, vital and useful and acknowledged and joyful and living. And one of the other things too is don't focus on what they can no longer do. Focus on what they still can do, and do what works for both of you to create a workable routine that will help bring peace to your day. And there's so much more, but I think I'm running a little bit close to time, so I want to just say we are here for you. I am Bit Thomaston. I am with Lakeside Hospice. I am currently working from home, but I can be reached through my office number, 205-884-1111. They will get your call through to me. I would love for you to send me your email address so we can share more information. My email is bthomaston, THOMASTON @lakesidehospice.org. So call me or email me, and we'll give you the information and resources that are available to us and share those with you. And then the last thing I want to kind of go over, is in the last few things of finding your peace, do the simple things that you enjoy when you're able to. And I know it's hard to find that time, but take a walk, go to the library, check out a book, call a friend or a family member, go have lunch with somebody you haven't had lunch with in a long time. Keep a journal, keep a gratitude journal. You'll see the changes that are going on, but you'll also celebrate the victories day to day. And there are no easy answers. This is not an easy journey. The unknowns are vast and can change from each minute to hour to day. But just know that there's always someone here for you, and that we're always praying for all our families going through this. And I want to share one thing with you that I have shared with many of my team members. And y'all, some of you have heard this before, and that I have relied on, especially through COVID and through so many of the things our families are going through right now. But this is from Whitley Phipps, from his Live a Better Life. And I'm going to read this twice to you because it's so powerful. But it is in the quiet crucible of your personal, private suffering that your noblest dreams are born and God's greatest gifts are given in compensation for what you have been through. So it is in the quiet crucible of your private, personal suffering that your noblest dreams are born and God's greatest gifts are given in compensation for what you have been through. And the way that I take that, and always have, is that we know that nothing is easy in this journey, but God always promises us joy. And we are doing the best we can do with the knowledge and the abilities we have. And if we continue to do that, God will bless us, and we will come out of this having learned some beautiful lessons, and most importantly, being able to share those lessons with someone else going through the journey. So God bless you and thank you. It's been a pleasure. I'll turn it back over to Jeremy.
Thank you so much, Beth. I mean, you raised so many good points, but I'll just piggyback on a couple of things that you said. I mean, like you said, don't as a caregiver, don't be afraid to take someone's offering of assistance to help you, but kind of on the same tune. I mean, don't be afraid if you're not a caregiver, but you're working with someone who is, or family members or someone in your congregation at your faith-based organization, or just the neighbor down the street. If you interact with someone and you willingly know that they are a caregiver, especially full-time caregiver, don't be afraid to reach out. I encourage you to reach out to them, because I mean, what I find is that a lot of caregivers, and I'm sure the rest of us find this too, but a lot of caregivers are very humble, and they're not really willing to ask for help. So, that's most people. Most of us look at, especially in the case of if it's a spouse caring for a spouse, they take that as the challenge that they signed up for when they got married. So, just try to always, go out of your way to compliment those that are being caregivers, because like Ben said, oftentimes you might be the only people that they see that week. We are very much so a country on the move, and so many family members move away, and not a lot of people are very accustomed to some of the technology of today's times, which I think with the pandemic, it's really forced us to open up to more of those options. But another thing too, Bit, is a lot of people, and you touched on this a little bit, but a lot of people think of respite as, you come in to help with personal care or whatever. But respite can just be picking up the phone and calling, or stopping by just to say hey, or going to the park or going to lunch. So just always try to remember that we have to adapt to the challenges. And again, one person that's going through this journey is one person, because everybody has a different background. They have a different life that they've lived. And it really impacts everyone differently. There are different types of dementia. So just try to be, open-minded to that, empathetic, and try to, again, reach out as much as possible to help. So I do want to say thank you again. If you have any questions, we do have this streaming live on our Facebook page right now. We have both a Panda Project Facebook page as well as an M4A Facebook page that we have this running on. And we are recording this, and we will be editing this to put it on our YouTube channel. So if you have any questions for Ben or for anybody, anybody on our panel, or anybody really at M4A or Lakeside Hospice, feel free to drop that, and we will make sure that we get those to her or for our staff to answer. I did want to touch on, you did a great job of trying to really shed light on the entire network of those that we work with and try to promote. But Bid is very modest herself in her support group. She's got the largest support group I've ever been to. It seems like there's 15 to 20 people every time you go to one of Bid's support groups. So she has an amazing support group and initiative there. I think she's a part of the Alzheimer Association's network of support groups. So she's very, very great at what she does. But I'm sure Bid going forward, especially for those caregivers who can't get away, like you said, getting into Zooms like this, or making it more of a digital version, will only be much more comforting for caregivers going forward, because a lot of us have really been forced into that world. kind of out of our comfort level. So hopefully that'll be kind of the norm going forward, because we know it's very hard for caregivers to get away. So thanks again for joining us. And I'm going to pass it over now to our caregiver interventionist with M4A with our Alabama Cares program, which is our traditional caregiver support program, Ms. Crystal Whitehead. And she's going to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we offer, specifically one program, I think, to talk about how we can kind of help caregivers from a distance as well. So Crystal, I'll pass it on to you.
Thanks, Jeremy. Hey, Bit, I'm being able to see you and your.
I know.
It is so good to see you. I'm looking a little bit shaggy today, but that's okay.
I can't see Shaggy. I just see your beautiful face.
Aw, thank you. You're such a sweetheart. Okay, so like Jeremy was saying, and this actually plugs in really well to what Bit was talking about earlier. We have a program, it's a web-based program called TrueAlta. It's a format that's specific to dementia, but there's a lot of basic caregiver health and wellness type stuff that you can go on and view that are beneficial to any type of caregiver, not just caregivers of those with dementia and Alzheimer's. But we also have the ability to loop into their e-learning materials, and some of those include videos from Teepa Snow. So I am going to try and share a very quick snippet of one of her videos, just in case you don't know her, so you can actually see what this is about. So let's cross our fingers and hope that I get this to work right. And let's also hope that I can make it play and you can hear the noise.
And that's just how your hand works. Now, the hardest thing in your hand, now I've shown you three things. This gives your hand strength. This gives your hand skill. The palm of your hand is a pressure sensor, which allows you to know exactly how much force and effort to apply. It allows you to do some amazing things. But the most important and the last learned skill of all in the human hand, do this, is uses the back of your hand, and it's the art of letting things go. And babies are not born with the ability to let things go. Babies actually are so good at holding on to things. If you put your finger in a baby's palm, there's a grasp reflex. And you can actually pick the whole baby up and put it down until it gets skilled at letting go. And it only learns letting go with practice. And you have to expose it to lots of things so that it gets used to having its hands on things and not closing up. So learning to let go is actually a skill. You put them on a high chair, do this. Cheerios will be smashed everywhere at first. And then they start learning, do this, that if you curl your fingers, you can catch Cheerios under your fingers and then grab them. Do that. Then they grab them. And now they want to put them in their mouth, but they don't know how, because they're strong, but they aren't particularly skilled. This is when they're first learning. And do this. They'll use their face to get the Cheerios in their mouth, and you'll have drool and Cheerios everywhere. It's not the most pleasant sight you've ever seen when babies are learning to let go of things. It's really difficult at first, and they make mistakes about letting go of things. But ultimately, eventually, what happens, they pick it up. Now they're starting to learn this. Do that. But they put the Cheerio all the way back in the skill fingers, and they go to put it in their mouth, and they gag themselves. So there's a period of time where there's this gagging. It's like, oh, don't put it all the way in there, because they don't know just to put it right here to let it go. But eventually they get pretty good at it. Do that. So they're doing this, and they're eating a whole bunch of Cheerios now, and now they're full, and they've got some Cheerios left. What am I going to do now? So pick them up. What else can I do to let things go? And so they start dropping them on the floor. Now, this is when, if you're smart, you get a dog, because it's not going to stop just because you say, nah, don't drop that on the floor, sweetheart. Let's not do that. And then they like to do, because now they find gravity. How cool is that? Watch, you can do it with milk, too. This is kind of fun to watch that stuff happen. So what do you notice? The kid is really curious about that, and they're letting things go that you're going, oh, geez, maybe not the best thing. But it actually takes a lot of skill, and only certain people get really good at letting things go and aiming at a target and hitting the target. In caregiving, do this. It's going to be one of the hardest things in the world to do, is to let go of what used to be willing to accept what is in the moment that you're in. And it is just one of the biggest challenges we face. And the tricky part about this thing called dementia, it's a constant moving target. And you have to decide, is this a letting go or is this a giving up on something? And you won't know really until you open your hand up and see what happens. And you are going to need you will need to learn how to let it go. Because when you look, you realize it's not there anymore anyway. And so the question is, how will you master the art so you do it with grace and dignity, and you allow the person to live with grace and dignity in the moment that they're in?
So that is just a small little snippet of one of the videos that's available through TrueAlta to be able to access some additional trainings through Tifa Snow, as well as if you don't have time, like some of her videos are a couple of hours long. If you don't have time for that, you have different learning objectives. And let's go back to share screen mode here. You have different learning objectives, and you can kind of see through here. Some of them, like this is one of her really good ones. I watched this one yesterday. It's 2.5 hours. But then you have over here, this one's 10 minutes, this one's 5 minutes, 5 minutes. You know, you have, this is especially helpful if you have someone who's struggling with anxiety and a lot of agitation. They have, oh, I'm not sharing, and I'm sitting here and referring to things.
I want to make sure I didn't know if you were trying to or not. But either way, yeah.
We also have like music for helping address agitation and anxiety, and it's a specific format that works with people that are at the general age for where most people experience Alzheimer's. It's maybe not as appropriate for an early onset thing, but it's a great resource that we have out here. If anybody's interested in pursuing that, just give us a call, shoot us an email, and we would love to be able to link you in with some of this information. So, yeah. And, you know, if you are enrolled in the Alabama Cares program and you're facing an especially difficult situation and you want somebody just to be able to talk with and maybe brainstorm some ideas, it's perfectly fine to reach out, and I can do some one-on-one interventions and work with you just to see if we can't figure out how we can make this journey more pleasant for everybody involved and less stressful, so that you get to enjoy the time that you have with your loved one. So anyway, back to you, Jeremy.
Wonderful. And we would like to add too that we as well have a support group that Crystal is a part of, where she does virtual support groups the second Thursday of each month on Zoom, if you didn't catch that. So just if you need to get in contact with M4A, of course, that's our parent agency, as you see on the screen there. You can simply just contact our agency and inquire about your needs. And you know, as soon as you say support group and caregiver support, they're immediately going to connect you with our Alabama Cares program, and more than likely with our Panda project if you live in the Shelby County region. So, all right, so we will move along to kind of go over. I mean, I think Bit did a wonderful job of really giving us all the accolades and going over the wonderful programs that we have as an agency. But we're really just one agency across the entire network for the state of Alabama. As you can see there, we have 13 area agencies on aging that make up our network. As you see, we are in the heart of it all, right there in the central part of Alabama. We cover the counties basically surrounding Jefferson County, which we'll go over in just a second. But we cover all 67 counties as a network of agencies. And our motto is simply to age in place, and that's really what we try to promote throughout our agency's network. Again, our mission statement, put simply, is that we try to empower individuals, people living with disabilities, and their caregivers to self-advocate as well as live independently and safely in the communities of their choice. So aging in place is kind of the overall motto for the network, but ours and in-house is really at the end of the day to try to assist all ages at all stages of their life, whether that be 12 years old, whether that be 112 years old. We try to do what we can to assist the family to increase that quality of life. The counties that we serve include Blount, Chilton, St. Clair, Shelby, and Walker counties, but we also cover Jefferson County with our CSEP program, which we'll go over in just a second. To put it simply, you contact our agency via online or in person or through the telephone, and you will be set up. They'll do what we call a callback list or a pink slip is what we really call it in-house, and they will call you back. One of our ADRC members, which is the Aging and Disability Resource Center, they'll call you back to do a full benefit screening to see what services that you might be eligible for, and then, of course, they'll make the appropriate referrals to those programs. So even if you're a caregiver calling in, you may call for supportive services, but you may be linked to some of the services you see there on the screen. Of course, we have a plethora of services, including nutritional services through the senior centers, as well as homebound meals. We have caregiver supportive services, again, with our Alabama Cares and our Panda project, which Panda also helps alongside, again, with those that not only are caregivers, but also with their loved ones who are living with dementia as well. So we have both of those programs that are there to support the family. We also have medication assistance programs, Medicare insurance counseling. So for those that find themselves, Medicare plans change every year as far as the copays and the benefits. So our in-house team there can look at your benefits to see what's the best opportunity for you, what suits your situation the best, and try to change those plans accordingly. Again, we have a senior employment program, which we cover all 5 of our counties as well as Jefferson County to provide individuals who are eligible with job skills. We do job placement at some of our partner agencies to try and develop those skills later in life to hopefully sustain long-term care or long-term employment, rather. And we also have legal assistance where we partner with an elder law attorney to set up, like Bit said, I mean, we see this literally every single day. We have people that call that this is not a very attractive topic to talk about. No one's thinking about long-term, setup as far as legal services with your powers of attorney, with your wills. And we partner with a legal elder law attorney to go ahead and start setting those things up. Primarily for individuals 60 and older, we do some free services. So that advanced directive is really what most people call it, to try and get those hardships kind of taken care of ahead of time, so that when you come to that situation in life, you're equipped with some of this. It's really as good of tools that you can have available to kind of help combat that stress and anxiety, because as we know, being a caregiver kind of throws its own hardships and stresses at you. So anything you can do to take that off your plate and be more prepared for it, the better you can be. We also have elder justice prevention. We do workshops. We do, right now we're doing Zoom trainings. We actually have different programs that some of our staff are doing occasionally to do presentations to really equip caregivers and professionals with being advocates for elder abuse prevention and trying to be a voice for those that maybe can't speak for themselves, and just to be vigilant. So be on the lookout for those, as well as our long-term care supportive programs, our Medicaid waiver program, which put simply is really providing services in the community to delay or prevent long-term care placement into a long-term care facility. But if you do find yourself in a long-term care facility or a loved one, because your caregiver journey does not really stop as someone goes into a long-term care facility, we do have an in-house ombudsman that is really the middleman for the facility itself and the resident and the family to speak on their behalf. So feel free to, we kind of cover each end of the spectrum there if you have any issues. Again, all ages at all stages. So we try our best to provide as much information and resources as possible. And really the best way to get started is visiting www.m4a.org/referral. And when you do that, it'll walk you through the steps here that you can put the information in on the individual that you're calling on behalf of, or it could be yourself. And you just put some notes in here, put things that you might that you might currently need assistance with, and they will get you, that information from you. They'll make the referral to the appropriate programs, and hopefully, we'll try to get the services that again can help support your life and increase your quality of life, and really try to be a supportive supportive agency on your behalf. Feel free to follow us on social media. Really, that's the best way to stay in the know on what's going on. We have, of course, a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube account, as well as our agency-wide newsletter. Of course, our programs do newsletters on their own, so you may get newsletters from our Panda Project, from Alabama Cares, from our Living Well Alabama program. But again, we have really an agency-wide newsletters where most people land, and you can sign up for that by just visiting our website, www.m4a.org. And you don't really have a choice because it'll prompt you as soon as you go there. So feel free to sign up with that and get any kind of information about things that are going on in our community, as well as across the state and across the nation. We do have our next coffee break schedule. This will be number 10. It is August the 12th, 2020, which is 2 weeks from today, same time, same place, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. on Zoom. As soon as we get off this, we'll go ahead and start setting up our next event on Facebook. So, by the end of the day tomorrow, we should have the event already on our Facebook page, so you can go ahead and click the interested or going button so that it'll keep you up to date. We'll have the RSVP link in that Facebook description, so be on the lookout for that and go ahead and get signed up. We will be joined by Ms. Lisa Holman, who is the Director of Programs and Public Policy with the Alzheimer's Association located in Birmingham. So a really good segue into more discussions on supportive services for the state of Alabama. This is specifically for the Alabama branch that covers the state, but really representative of the entire organization as a whole nationwide. So we're really excited to have Lisa join us. And again, that's August the 12th from 1 to 2. So we look forward to doing that. Now we're going to attempt to do something here because in the past we've had, if you joined us last time, we had rose gardens and gardening. And then this time we're going over caregiver support. We've had emergency preparedness. We've had cooking. We don't really skip a beat. We try to cover everything we can, but of course there are always things that we miss, things that caregivers just want to know about, want to hear about. It doesn't have to be professional. It can be something that's a new trend, a new it might be social media overview to try and get better at that. It may be email, anything. So if you have suggestions, I think that Jennifer is going to help us try to pull up a poll. I think it's actually live now. We have a few things there that you can choose from that you think we might want to go over in the future, new topics. We're always looking for topics, again, to try and keep it fresh. There may be topics that we go back over again because, things like cooking quick meals or music therapy, that stuff really never gets old. I mean, it's something that you always need to have reinforcement on because they're all powerful tools. So if you feel free to check any of those options there and submit those to us. If you miss this, if you're doing this later, feel free to let us know in the comment section on Facebook. You can email us at panda@m4a.org, panda@m4a.org. And of course, that's something that we can go use going forward to try and get you information, because I can assure you that if it impacts your life, it's more likely going to impact someone else's life as well. So feel free to email us those or comment again on our YouTube channel or on our Facebook page. And I think that's about it for us. That's our address information, our contact information there on the screen. Of course, we're located in Alabaster. However, right now we're primarily working remotely. So if you have any questions, if you have any concerns, any compliments or comments that you want to make, or complaints that you want to make to our agency, there's our contact information there. And again, you can reach us as far as the Panda Project, specifically about coffee break. You can contact us through panda@m4a.org, or of course you can comment on our Facebook page again, or our YouTube channel, or you can email us back if you get the newsletter. So thanks again for joining us, and we hope that this has been beneficial to you. We hope that if you're not a caregiver and you're listening in on this, we encourage you again, reach out to your caregivers, to your family members, because I can assure you they want your help, but they may not ask for it. So whether that's physically, whether that's emotionally, just help them. Just ask. And sometimes you don't even need to ask. You just need to tell them you're going to help. So thanks again for joining us. We look forward to getting with you next time on Coffee Break. Again, that's 2 weeks from today from 1 to 2, and we will be posting that on our social media soon. So thanks again. Have a great afternoon.